Hi guys, thanks for tuning in the channel today. I'd just like to thank, before we get into this review short review on the 2024 model Suzuki Vstrom 250SX, I just thought I'd like to thank the 130 people who give me the thumbs up and commented on the clip I put up on that bike. That was only the demo one where I said I was planning on using this bike to get out there and ride around on dirt roads, roads to nowhere. So, I thought to myself, well, I'll get out there, just bring this bike up and just show you what it is rather than make a big thing of it straight off with, because I'd already got that GB350, 3 weeks earlier. But that's how it goes, and, once again, I'd like to thank the 130 you got there and give it the thumbs up and read the comment, and I think I had another 370 or 500 in total who didn't say anything at all, but, that's the way it goes. You could be jealous one day and happy the next. So, if a 250cc $6,500 road bike or like a dual-purpose bike is enough to get you jealous, let it roll. Now, anyway, back to where we were. Like I said, this is a new 2024 model now. Those ones that are really into the channel, they know about 8 months ago I pre-ordered a yellow one of these when I come to Australia, which at that stage they were giving away a free top box and things like that. And the only problem is when I got it, it turned out to be orange instead of correction. It turned out to be a yellow one, and I pre-ordered an orange one, which I wasn't happy with, but it was a case of then of just wait for another order or take that bike. So I took that bike. Now, 3 things went wrong. That was the first thing that went wrong when I got it. The second one was I took it out in the dirt on the, I think it was just a couple of days after I had it, and on the very first dirt road, hit this mud patch and dropped the bike. So the bike went down. Number 3 was after it hit the ground, I couldn't get it up, and when I got a little bit of help and got it up, if people sort of interested in this side of it, I'd bent the gear shifter and it was locked in second gear. So I had to ride the bike, once I got it going, 30 kilometres back home in second gear because I had no tools there to get it out of that, the gear shifter jammed up against it. So after I put all those things together, 3 items, I wasn't really happy how things are going, and it's the first bike I've ever dropped, and I didn't like that idea much, and I thought to myself, I can't live with this bike. I might cash it, it'd be easier for me to go and buy another one again. So that's the principle I worked on. So it took about 8 months to get to it, and a few other bikes come through during those 8 months, and some of them are still here. And I decided after that, about 2 weeks ago I think it was, I decided, I'll go for another one because I might be doing some off-road riding for a specific purpose, and this time I'll order a black one and see if I can get it, because so I ordered the black one and it arrived there, and I think it was about 4 or 5 days later it arrived, and got it at a good price, so I was happy with that side of it too. Now since then I've done around about 170 kilometres. I did that demo tape, what you were looking at, and the idea I never threw audio on that tape is because it was, like I said, only a demo one, and I was just trying angles, I was trying a flying camera, all the other stuff out there. It was 30 odd degrees on the day out there, so it was pretty hot out there too, and I was just sort of happy to get in there, check things out and get away from the bloody place, because the sweat was pissing out of me by the time I got back on that bike and rode out after doing all that work. And you might think it's only a few shots, but might be only a few shots, but it takes a fair while to do it. But a lot of people only commented that they would just like to see where I'm riding and stuff like that. And like I've thought it over, and there's no trouble throwing a voiceover or talking in some sections of the ride. And if you just don't want to see angles and things like that, well, that's fine by me, because it takes a fair while to put them together, and if I can get out of that side, well, it's a plus. I can just run a camera at the front, one at the back, go to these places where I'm thinking of taking you to, and give you a little bit of a history on where we're going. It's not just a ride down a bloody dead-end road and pull up and say, yeah, that's it. There are specific spots I've got lined up so we can go there and I can sort of tell you a little bit about it, which makes it a bit more interesting for me, because when you get here creating videos all the time, sometimes just riding along a bloody dirt road is fairly boring. But back to this side, this is more on the 2024 Suzuki SX 250, and what I can tell you about these bikes is, you know, like in the specs I did on that clip, but it's pulled down now, so you know, you're looking at a bike that retails at around about 6.8, or you might get one a bit cheaper, depends on if you're how lucky you are and how many bikes you bought off the dealer, which you know, I buy quite a few bikes, so a couple of them like that idea, and then some of them are that miserable they wouldn't give you a cent off, so it just depends on how you're lucky in that line. Now, these bikes, there's really got no competition. At $6,500, what do they compare? Like in Honda, you got a CRF 190L, you've got that one. In Kawasaki, you got a KLX 150L, and you know, those bikes are probably within $800 or something of a price of the Suzuki. And the Suzuki, because it's fuel injected, dual channel ABS, and that would be a far superior bike. That's all there is to it. I think as it is now, these Suzukis are definitely, without a doubt, the best value bike you can buy in Australia at that price anywhere. It's just got no competition, you know. It's a better bike than to buy than the GB350, for example. A better bike than the classic 350. But take into account both those bikes I own, and they fit into a different category. This one is more like a more dirt road runner, where you can run it along a dirt road, but nothing heavy stuff like, you know, like what you'd get onto a DRZ 400 or the 250 in the Yamaha. So it's not that sort of a bike where out along the road on bitumen, geez, this bike will hold 100 kilometres an hour, no trouble whatsoever. You know, and it's got a top speed as a speedo ready of 150 kilometres an hour. Now some of them will get on and say, oh, that 250 won't do 150. Of course it bloody won't do 150. The speedo shows 150, but they do say GPS speed's 135. Now for those people who've got a bit of knowledge on stuff over the years, about 150 cars, well, this motorbike's number 70 in the last 12 years. I can tell you now, in the cars I've had, it doesn't matter if I was driving a Mercedes, a Lotus, you know, any of the other sort of stuff, BMWs, Mustangs, anything. They're all got faulty speedos, and they're not actually faulty. They're governed by the state or the country to make sure that they show, or by the car manufacturers, under what actually they're doing. And I mean, a prime example would be if you're out along the road cruising along at 100 kilometres an hour, or you're doing 110, and you come up behind some near new car, and he's doing the right thing and running along at his speedo reading at 100, you look down at yours, you'll see you're doing 100 too, because it's not just for some idiot on the bike who thinks they got a crook speedo. It's for everyone out there, whether you've got bloody car, motorcycle, or the town bike. It doesn't matter what you're riding, everything is off alignment. So, you know, it just depends, well, on that town bike, I suppose it depends on what the age of the bike is, but, you know, like, there's a few things to look at all these sort of things, and more importantly, what we're talking about on this one and the 250 SX is it does 100 kilometres an hour, so easy, it's just hard to believe. It'll pull hills really nice, and it's just a really good value bike. It's got the bigger wheel at the front, smaller one at the back, weighs around about 170 kilos, 12 litre tank, seat height 835. If anything, I'm sort of trying to get a little bit used to now getting back on the higher seat. Like, you know, the 835 mightn't sound much more, but you do find that even though I can put my feet down, I can't really flat foot it. But, you know, I think, you know, I'm getting used to it now compared to, and I've got a little bit of a clip here, you've probably seen it by now, I've been going through it where I'm running through the bush and things like that, and I like the idea of the 6-speed box on it, you know, it pulls well into top gear, got slip clutch or slip and assist clutch, and overall a very nice bike to ride with very little vibration. So I'd say the vibration would be less, it's hard to say, maybe about equal to the GB350 Honda, and it would definitely be less vibe than what's on the classic 350 Reborn. So overall, you know, it does that well. I've been running it along now on the dirt roads at around 60 kilometres an hour, because like I said, when you first get on these bikes, you find that when you get up into a little bit of higher seat position, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but, you know, there's no prizes for how big a hurry you're out there. It's got the dual channel ABS braking, so that's good too. So overall, you know, like Suzuki, look, I wouldn't say Suzuki are my favourite bike. I've said that before, but in this case, this is a really good value bike, and because I plan on doing a lot of dirt roads on this, I think what I'm planning on doing, I might order from India. They're not cheap either, about $550 for the factory crash bars, and I might get the panniers rails or racks at the back too, and set it all up for the work I want to do. Now, the idea for the crash bars is mainly if the bike falls over, I might have a better chance of pulling it up, back it up a bit, and then go from there. So that's the plan there. But main thing is 170 k's on the clock. If you're out there, you know, looking at one for the first time, if you say, well, what don't you like about 170 kilometres, what you never commented on before? Your leg position once you sit on the bike is a little bit sort of cramped or pushed up, and I'm 5'9", about 85 kilos. You know, it's not as comfortable as what, say, for example, your leg position on the Classic 350 Reborn. That would be very hard to beat because that bike's got a really good riding position. So that'd be one thing. But you'll get used to this after a while, especially when you're out there and you're powering along at 100 kilometres an hour speedo ready, and you know how easy it does it, and it can take off and go a lot quicker if you really need be. So that'd be the first thing. And number two would be the factory windscreen they come with. I suppose it's all right to get one for nothing, but it isn't much of a windscreen. But since these have been out now, they've increased the height of the windscreen. You can buy aftermarket ones to put on if need be. But, you know, I'll see how things go. I think I'll put a few goodies on this particular bike and then get out there and ride it around more so than on the other ones, because winter will be, or the cooler weather will be starting surely, and, you know, I can get on this one, do a bit of distance, and I've been out there now a couple of times sitting it on 100 to see how it's handling that again, because, it was 8 months since I had the last one, and we'll see how things go in that line. So all I can say, if you're probably, it just depends on your riding skills, but even if you're a shorter rider, you'll handle it once you get going. And I think, I don't know, because of the odd position where your legs or where your feet hit on the pegs, way out of that might have been to go for an inch or 2 inch higher bar risers. That might help it there, you know, to get that. But, you know, for the price you pay for 6.5, there's no big deal on that side there. This Suzuki be a really good around town bike. It's, you know, so easy to ride, nice and smooth. Really, you know, I am surprised how smooth the motor is, considering what it is. Good starter. So suspension's not bad. You know, like I said, it's not an outright off-road bike where you can get in there and bounce over them, but that's not my style anyway. It wouldn't matter if I went out and bought the best bike you can get in dirt. It's not going to help me at all. So that'd be the best way. You know, it might have helped me 40 years ago, maybe, but on today's market, it would just be a total waste. So all I want something that I can get through the scrub. I'm in no hurry. I can see what's going on. And if you're after something into that line, well, you have to take into account, you know, you're only paying $6,500 here. We're not paying $25,000. So for $25,000, you would expect everything to be good. And usually that's not the case either. And for $6,500, you can just look at one of these and say, geez, that's a pretty good bike at a bargain price, and that's the price I can afford, and I don't even have to pay it off. You just go in and pay for it cash and give them the money and go. That's the difference between $6,500 and if you're going there for $25,000. You know, if you want to go in there and buy one $25,000, $30,000, you've got to be fairly well heeled and to hand over that sort of money. Would I buy one in that category? Yeah, well, I would buy one, but the fact is, what's the good of it to me? Because it's just nothing I can do with it. Because, for one, they're all too big, they're too heavy, and this is more in my line, like, you know, like these 250, 300cc jobs, and, you know, like maybe when you look at it, I come back into bikes 12 years ago, so I come into it a little bit too late, where if I would have come into it earlier, no doubt I would have been riding some dream machines, that's for sure. But as it is now, we can forget about that silly idea, because, you know, I was in cars for all those years buying those ones, and now it's just riding what I think I'm capable of controlling. And if you say to yourself, well, is there any drawbacks to that 250, what you've bought at all? No, I can't really see any drawbacks about it. It's sort of just a good overall bike, and if you're on the fence and you want, to fork out a few dollars and be happy with what you've bought, I think the Suzuki Vstrom 250 SX is still the best value bike on the market, and that's why I come back and bought one. If I thought, for example, a Honda CRS 300L was a better bike, I would have probably just ordered one of them, but I had one of those and I don't think it's a better bike. Like a good rider might say, yeah, I could beat you here and there, but I don't care about the good rider because I won't be riding with him. I just want to know, if I go out there, will it start? Can I point it, get through these trees or anything like that at a slow crawl in first gear, which, like I said, this clip of mine, it ran through the scrub, no trouble whatsoever. And more importantly, I'm not handicapped by weight. And I tell you what, just for an example, people go on about how good the Honda CRS 300L is, but I bet you if you could really talk to Itchy Boots and say to her, how good is this bike? She's had some trouble with that bike. And I remember my first one, I got the 300L. First time out along the road, the front wheel was buckled on it, and it was going around. You could feel it bounce as you're going in. I said to the dealer, there's something wrong with the wheel on this, and he reckons there was nothing wrong with it. But, geez, I don't know. Sometimes dealers try to put it over you, and I think in my case, the more cars or the more bikes you've had, you can just go onto a bike now, get onto it and ride it and say, what's wrong with this and what's not. Now, this crap where these bloody guys get on their test ride bikes and cars, or especially bikes, and they say they need to ride at 1, 2 or 3,000 kilometres, what a load of shit. If you know anything about these bikes, cars or anything, you can get into them and go for a 5 kilometre or 10 kilometre run, and you can make up your mind, is this any good or not? You won't know all the facts, but you can get on it and say after that, yeah, I want to go further with this, but the only way they tell you all this shit, so you come back and watch the channel. So, it just goes to show you how gullible some of these people are to come along and watch it, and then if you do say anything about it, how quick they bite. And in most cases, these people that bite have got nothing anyway, so I don't know, they're I think you'd put them there just outright fools. So that's the way it goes now. Once again, I thank those 130 people who give me the thumbs up. I appreciate that, and I also appreciate the one that comments. They, some nice comments there, and, the main thing would have been me not doing any voiceover or talking on it, but I think I've made up for it in this one, and when I have to talk, I will talk, and I can talk for quite a long time. It's just sometimes when you're out there and things are going, you think, you got more in your mind than talking about crap where you've got to get things under control. But now we know that, the angles aren't all that important, the walking thing, I can just go out there, ride it, put camera front and back. I think you'll see this bike travel quite a few different places over the next few months, and you'll also see a few options come on it so that I'm serious about going out there with it. And the most serious one will be getting that crash bars at the front so that my Thrifty link, I think it was called, I can hook onto something there this time if it goes down and pull it up, and if not, I've even got another smaller winch to do the job. So I am really serious. If I go down next time, you'll think I'm big league out there when I crank this one up. So apart from that, I appreciate the fact you're in there doing it. And once again, all this is directed mainly to the 130 that give me the thumbs up because and left a comment. The other ones, to be honest, I'm really pissed off about them ones, especially when I said I needed 200 likes to get things going. But you do find over the years, or the more you're on YouTube, there are that many jealous people out there with nothing and got a chip on their shoulders. Well, it's just something you've got to live with year after year. So in this case, if you said to me, what about if those people they decide that they've had enough and they had unsubscribed to this channel after you mentioning this? I would say good. I'd like to see them go. So, I don't earn any money out of them. I don't earn any money anywhere. So, as far as things go, I don't owe them any favours. So that'd be something for you to think about. And that I'd rather have 250 or 300 loyal followers that really like the content and I can get out there and do it, compared to the ones that just come along and they're jealous and they look at it and, you know, they're jealous sort. They come and have a look. They can't help it. They come, have a look and see what you got and think, oh, another effing bike. That's what they think. But they got to get used to it because, you know, like, I like buying bikes and while I can do it, there's no reason why I can't. So apart from that, you know, some people like that idea and some don't and some can't handle it. And if you can't handle it, you're best not watching. So we'll see how things go further down the track. And once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look. And a big thanks to me loyal followers and nothing to the others. Orange ones are no longer available.